Well, if you've ever wondered how we can make such uncinematic, ungenius mechanical videos down here, well, this Jeep right here behind me is 100% proof. Luckily today, we got Patty Ray here, and she's going to give us her opinions on me buying this Jeep. What do you think?
Is this one going to sit out here like the rest of them? Or
Probably.
fix it?
Probably. Maybe I'm going to start fixing it right now. She would be referring to all the vehicles I got sitting around here and even the ones at home. By the way, hell yeah, we do. And there's a few more sitting inside. So she has a point. So what we've got is a cheap Jeep. It's a 2008. It's loaded all up. It's got navigation, satellite, everything you can think of inside this thing. That's why I bought it. Now, we're going to make some videos on it, but we're going to call it the cheap Jeep, so you guys can stay tuned to see what happens. Let's take a look at this Jeep, and I'll tell you why I bought it. So I've made about a little bit over 1,000 videos, and how I continue to do that, it's not a very profitable business, I'm going to tell you right now, but it surely is psychologically very, very rewarding, because I help people save money all over the world. What I do is I buy these automobiles, like this one, with a bad motor in them, fix them up, make great videos on repairing them, or at least I think they're great anyways, then resell them for a profit. That's how we make money. We also make money off of donations from people just like you, and sometimes we'll sell some merch or something like that, but I don't do that very often. But if you really ever want to help this channel out and you love not being the next to them but the first to you, open up your computer at nighttime, turn down the volume, and put on one of my sweet Clayway playlists. Let them suckers play to front to back if you're not kind of like the donating type, which I can completely understand. Click that join button, and you'll see neat stuff like this. Well, this Jeep Liberty has a 3.7 in it, and it's been sitting out in the dust and grime. But when I went to look at this Jeep, I noticed a couple things. The tires were in pretty decent shape, and they all matched. That's important no matter what you're looking at. The other thing that I noticed was that it had leather, it had the navigation system, it had the hole in the roof. And you may not think much about not having matching tires on a car, but they are a strong indicator of what the last person thought about the automobile. They purchased all new tires, more than likely they took care of their vehicle. Which people like. It's also a 4x4, and it's a V6, and even though the V6 isn't very powerful, it certainly gets you around and gets you where you need to go. Now, today, in this type of market that we got because of super inflation and everybody getting millions of dollars for absolutely free in the mail with sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, makes vehicles very, very expensive. So I bought this Jeep. You hit the key in it, and the engine just turns. It sounds like there's something really messed up inside this thing. Overall, the car body is in excellent shape with the exception of this rust underneath this door handle. So I'm not going to have to do too much out there, and that makes me happy and keeps it still very affordable. Well, I didn't think the interior of this was that bad, and I thought, you know what? I'm like, somebody probably took pretty good care of this. If you've seen the junk that I've seen, you've seen some serious stuff. There's just little simple things to cars like having the owner's manual. That is a really, really good sign. Well, it's got the owner's manual in it. That's a positive sign because that means somebody wasn't messing around with it. Then if we take a look underneath the hood, everything's here and everything looks like it's together. Turn it over, babe. Oh, that's not a good sign. Well, that means the motor could be locked up, or we have a dead jump box. Oh my freaking God, this thing was turning over before. Yeah, that's definitely not a good sign. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of this stuff apart. Maybe this motor's locked up, maybe the timing chain broke. That's typically what happens. So I'm gonna start removing the valve covers and front of this engine and see what we got. Well, this is a cheap Jeep because I only spent about 1,500 bucks on it. Before, I would have only spent $500 to $700 on a Jeep like this with a blown motor. This thing has 172,000 miles on it. And what I'm hoping is going to happen is I'm going to pull off the front timing cover of this and find one of the timing chains broke. Because then I can pull the cams, see if I have any valves that are bent by doing a leak down test. And hopefully we just have to replace a valve or two, some timing, some head gaskets and stuff like that. And this thing will be coming back to life. We need to check over a couple things like the oil, smell it, make sure it ain't burnt. Maybe somebody locked up this motor. But I don't think that's going to be the case because I heard this motor turn over before. Okay, so we've almost got everything apart here. Let's see if a chain is laying down inside here or if we just got one broke. Watching back through the video, you can definitely tell that nothing's broken in there at this point. Well, that's not good. There's some slop in the chain, but at least it's not broken. The engine turns over, so that's a good sign. It looks as if somebody was in here before and maybe replaced a tensioner. There's a putrid smell coming out of this thing once I removed these coils out of here. It smells like this girl from high school, but never mind, that's for a different video. So I pulled out all the spark plugs. They look like they're burning properly and there's no mashed down electrodes, so that means we don't have any kind of broken piston at the top that we can tell right now. I'm starting to worry that this cheap stinking Jeep is about to turn into a big ass money pit. We're gonna have to do some more investigating. Well, I've got her taken apart and the timing chains are on, so that might be a good thing, but there's a bad thing in here. A couple of these rockers are just popping out of here and ain't really supposed to do that. Which tells me that we've got some vent valves more than likely, so these cylinder heads are gonna have to come off. That one's just laying inside there. On the fronts of these cams, where these bolts are, there's pins on the cam, and I have a suspicion that them pins are possibly broken. Not certain at this point, but a lot of playing the chain, and it looks like this cylinder head has been worked and this cylinder head has not at one point, because if we go down here we see a new tensioner right there and an old one over here on the opposite side. So need a little bit more of inspection. One of the great things about looking inside this engine is that one cylinder head is really clean and the other one is fairly clean. There's not a lot of oil buildup inside there, so that's generally a good sign of oil changes. And I think we're going to end up renaming this thing Stinky Ass Jeep because it smells like ass in here. After inspection, it looks like maybe our cams are out of time, just a tooth or two, and not quite where they should be. But I know from experience with these engines, quite a bit of experience with these engines to be honest, that more than likely one of the valve seats dropped out of the cylinder head, and that's causing that problem. Well, it looks like I'm going to remove these cams so I can have all of my valves closed and I can do a compression test and see if I got any bent valves. Then I'm going to take the heads off and see what happens. Okay, so I wanted to demonstrate a leak down test on these cylinder heads, but I couldn't get any of them to hold any air at all, even have a 10% variance like they're supposed to. So we're going to pull this thing up out of here and see what we got. But we know there's something weird, just something doesn't look right on these springs, so we know this head has something wrong with it. And we're looking at this one has definitely been redone. It's been a while though, because it's discolored on the outside, but on the inside it looks pretty good. So there might be something wrong here. I think I'm gonna have Patty Ray hold the camera while we pull this thing up out of here and you guys can take a look. All right, so I got the wires moved out of the way.
Take this sucker out. Oh, you need help, old man? I can help you with that.
God, you just hold the damn camera. Whew. Ruining my thing here.
Yeah, that's definitely not right.
What? Oh my, well, This is why you stake your valve seats. Oh, crap. I'm not going to be able to fix that here. I can do a lot of stuff, but I ain't going to be able to do that right here.
It's bad.
Shit, I dropped the
here.
stinking
Oh yeah.
lifter.
Honey, look at these pistons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now.
More junk, huh?
Oh. Yeah, it's kind of normal. I'll look at them closer, but valves contacted them, so generally they don't crack. Hopefully, we got no cracks. But I was hoping for just bent valves or something. I wasn't hoping for bad valve seats.
Oh yeah.
What? This one's got broken ones too? That's impossible.
It's not.
What? Oh my goodness, I've never seen that. Never.
Now you
200
have.
or 300 of these, I've never seen that many of them broken at one time. That is crazy. This is insanity. 4 valve seats that came out. I honestly, I don't work at the dealership or nothing like that, but I've done a couple hundred of these, and I've never seen 4 of them break. Usually it's one at a time. I don't know if they were running high RPMs or they overheated it or what. So how these valve seats are installed from the factory is they're cold set, meaning that the valve seats themselves are really cold, and they press them into the cylinder heads, and as they heat up, they go inside there. Now, when I repair them and I replace them, when I used to work over at the machine shop, we would stake these in. And whatever machine shop I decide to take these things to, I'm going to make sure that they stake them in and they won't ever fall out. I would have took the cylinder heads off no matter what. We're going to fix them, and we're going to fix them right. Now, if you're ever doing these and they have over 20% that has to be taken off the cylinder head, you have to shim them. But the real problem isn't so much that you can't shim these heads if you have to take a lot off. The problem is that they overheated so bad that more than likely they warped this cam. So there's that. So follow us, check out upcoming videos of what happens to the super cheap Stinky Jeep. Only 2 more episodes left. Is this engine any good? Is the transmission any good? What happens to this cylinder head when we take it down to the shop? Did this thing overheat so bad that it warped the cylinder heads and caused the cams to be no good? Anything's repairable, but that doesn't mean it's right. But we'll answer all these questions, and the biggest one, how much do we get out of this? In future episodes, there's only 2 left. Check them out. Stay tuned to the channel.